From shaky cam mess-ups to nonsense superhero action sequences, let's see how filmmakers tortured us with the worst fights in movie history ever. Some people train their entire lives to become professional fighters, so they must be insulted when they see movies come along and ruin their art form. Take this scene in Alex Cross, for example. Granted, the movie is more of a detective story than a combat sports flick, but there's an MMA scene that's even more criminal than the film's murder scenes. Fair warning though, you'll feel dizzy afterwards. It's clear that the actors were doing their all to make the fight decent, but the filmmakers decided to undo their hard work by using shaky cam. And that's been an unfortunate trend in action movies since the Bourne franchise showed that fight scenes could take the lazy route. After they made a bunch of money at the box office, action movie filmmakers stopped caring about clarity in favor of causing motion sickness. Check out this scene in Taken 2, or should I say, Shaken 2. In this one, the filmmakers were more interested in hiding what's clearly good action choreography behind an annoying technique, and the end results are so disappointing. Not all bad fight scenes are difficult to watch though. Some of them are so bad they're actually entertaining. There's no denying that gymnasts are amazing athletes. In Gymkata, however, they need to use pommel horses to kick butt. If you thought that was some wacky nonsense, wait till you get a load of Mr. No Legs. Here's a movie that probably wouldn't fly nowadays, and not only because the content would undoubtedly offend people. It's because the fight scenes are so amateur and dated. The limbless actor definitely deserves some credit for his commitment to the bit, but come on, what's the deal with the slow-mo? It basically makes what's already a terrible fight last longer, and nobody wants to see that. And if that's not crazy enough, the guy's wheelchair is even equipped with gadgets. Not every assassin is capable of fighting without their limbs, though. In the masterpiece that is Deadly Prey, one bad guy gets beat up with his own severed arm, but it serves him right for having such terrible aim. When it comes to so bad they're good flicks though, Neil Breen movies are the creme de la creme. Therefore, it's unsurprising to find a scrapping sequence in I Am Here. Now that's beyond woeful. And the best part? This is supposed to be a serious movie.
We trusted you like a brother. Kill him!
That being said, there are some hilariously bad fight scenes in otherwise good action movies. Hard Target is one of the best flicks to emerge from the golden age of Jean-Claude Van Damme. When he's fighting humans, the brawls are exquisite, but not even the muscles from Brussels can make beating up a snake look good.
Is it dead?
Not hardly. Van Damme is no stranger to starring in trashy nonsense, though. Who remembers the Street Fighter movie? However, he wasn't involved in the film's worst fight scenes. That honor goes to this monster brawl. You can question the realism in all of the movies we've covered so far, but at least they aren't overly bloated with VFX nonsense that distracts from the brawling. Both practical and digital effects have been the main focus of far too many fight scenes, and they're an instant mood killer. The Last Airbender should have been a fun movie that featured great fight scenes with a mystical edge to them. Instead, the filmmakers made a terrible movie that tried to cater to a 3D gimmick as opposed to entertaining the audience. And the fight scenes were just a mishmash of questionable CGI and unintentional hilarity.
I don't want to hurt anyone.
But The Last Airbender is a masterclass in action filmmaking compared to Spawn. Here's a movie that had Michael Jai White at its disposal, but the filmmakers chose not to let him showcase his world-class martial arts skills. That's because they were seemingly more interested in giving the audience seizures. course, it isn't only bad CGI that leads to underwhelming brawls and fantasy movies. Films with some of the best practical wizardry are also guilty of this sin. The creatures in Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster look freaking awesome, but you can't appreciate them during this fight scene since it's impossible to see what the heck's going on. That ain't even the King of the Monsters' worst fight scene. Here he is trying out for WWE. Godzilla isn't the only icon of pop culture who's embarrassed himself in a fight, though. Superhero movies have put far too many of our favorite spandex crusaders in fight sequences and almost ruined their entire legacies. The opening scene of Batman and Robin is incomprehensible and makes the iconic tag team look like morons.
It's the hockey team from hell!
But Gotham City wasn't exactly a hotspot for good fight scenes in the late 2000s and early 90s. Compared to Catwoman, Batman and Robin is The Dark Knight. That's because it's essentially the movie version of a terrible music video with bland action sequences. The movie's climax doesn't offer much in the way of excitement either, and nothing about it looks real. When it comes to superhero flicks though, no scene is more cringeworthy than Daredevil vs. Elektra. That one is particularly weird, as it starts because Elektra doesn't give Matt Murdock her name. So he follows her to a children's playground and pressures her for information.
You're holding back.
And after that, they basically jump around on a seesaw and get the hots for each other.
So does every guy have to go through all this just to find out your name?
Try asking for my number.
Don't copy Daredevil's approach to dating, kids. That said, at least no animals were hurt during that fight scene. The same can't be said for that time in Hulk, which sees the Jolly Green Giant beat up a poodle and its canine pals. Atrocious CGI and animal cruelty, fight scenes don't come much worse than that. If you liked this video, be sure to check out our breakdown of the worst CGI in the history of movies.